Good morning and welcome to Coaches Go Social. I am so excited to be with you here today. I have a couple of wonderful guests. Yes, two guests today, not just one, I have two. It's going to be double the fun and excitement because today we're going to be talking about joy and how to add more joy into our day. Micro dose moments of joy. I'm super excited to have this show with you today. And, as you know or may not know, this month is Mental Health Awareness Month. And I really wanted to bring guests to you to share their expertise, to share their experience, and really to get us into the conversation of how we can, navigate these difficult times with more joy, of course. I keep wanting to say that word over and over again. Who doesn't want more joy? But who really wants to experience a better life and just a more happy experience altogether, no matter what happens in the world. So thank you so much for joining me. If you're here, so make sure to say hi. I'm going to bring our guests on in just a second. But before I do, I want to make sure that I do this show because Coaches Go Social was created to bring you all of the knowledge and experience that you can possibly have to grow your business. And not only that, to enhance your personal life, right? When you become an entrepreneur, there is things that you just never thought that you might experience when starting and growing a business. And that's what I want to support you with, is I bring you things to enhance your personal life and your business to help you grow faster and enjoy the journey, right? I really believe that the entrepreneurship is one of the ultimate journeys in personal development. And there are so many things to learn along the way. So this year we've talked about personal finances, we've talked about business finances, organization, relationships, we already talked about finances. There's a big conversation around that. So there's so many different topics, and that's why I am here with you today as well, to be able to share with you expertise coaches and subject matter experts to teach you all of these amazing things to help you grow your business and your personal life. So if you've missed any of the past shows, you can watch them all at coachesgosocial.com. And oh my gosh, I'm so excited that you're all here today. So it's going to be super, super fun. So we're using StreamYard, and StreamYard allows you to stream to multiple places. So I'm on Facebook Live on Capitalized Social Media, my Facebook page. I'm also on YouTube Live, on my YouTube channel, and on LinkedIn Live. So StreamYard makes it super easy to bring all of those in together and to stream all those places at once. So yay for StreamYard. Love them so much. And last but not least, bringing on two guests, one that I have met in person before, that we've been friends for a couple of years, and one that I'm not. And it's interesting because their story, they've kind of collided in a couple of different worlds, and Clubhouse is one of them. So we'll be talking about that quickly. But as far as what they're going to share today, microdose moments to bring joy to your life every day, right? Look for those moments that will really bring happiness and joy to you every single day, not just once in a while, all the time. And my friends Janet and Aditi are here with us today. I'm going to bring them on in just a second. Before I do that, I want to let you know that Coaches Go Social is also sponsored by Wave.video. Wave.video is a super easy tool to allow you to edit videos. Like, I take my shows and edit little video clips, add them to stories, add them to my content strategy, and they add captions, and there's so much you can do. But I'm all about easy. StreamYard's easy, Wave.video is easy, and I really can't wait to jump into this conversation with you. Before we do, I'm going to show you my little intro video, and then I'm going to bring on Janet and Aditi. Thanks for being here. Here I am. Took myself out for a second. Hello.
Hello.
Oh my goodness. I'm so excited that you're here today. Hi, Janet. Hi, Aditi. How you
Loved
doing?
it.
Yay.
Hi.
So excited that you're here. And I cannot wait to hop into this conversation about how to find micro moments of joy because I don't know about you, but I'm feeling it and I need some little bit of inspiration. So I cannot wait to make sure to share this conversation with everyone watching. So if you're watching here right now, make sure to say hi and join in the conversation, ask your questions, and just hang out with us because it'll be 30 minutes of super fun. And then after this, we're going to do a quick little after show in a messenger chat room so we can see all your faces. So make sure to hang out for that afterwards. So before we get started, I would like to have you to introduce a little bit about yourself. Tell us about you, what your business is and who you serve. Aditi, you want to go ahead and go first?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here, Amy. My name is Aditi. I am a life coach and an emotional wellness speaker. And what I do is I help the working humans, so any people who have a job, working professionals, transform their stress using self-care practices. With everything going on, and even before, we were already stressed out before the pandemic started. So I have found that the solution of self care really, really, really makes a difference and changing those conversations on what self care is exactly.
I love that. Yeah, self care is kind of a big conversation, right? So there's lots of different things I'm sure that you help your clients in doing. So, yay, thank you so much for being here. And DT and I we actually met at Social Media Marketing World a couple years ago. So we've been like in person, online friends for a couple years now. So it's so good to
So
finally have you on
fun.
the show. Yeah, cool. And then Janet, who I've actually never met before. And then, like I said, any friend of Aditi's is a friend of mine. I'm so glad that you're here. Please tell me about yourself and about your business.
Oh, thank you. I call myself a human potential facilitator because really what I do is help people realize who they really want to be. We get so stuck in these roles. And so I work with a lot of people in organizations, executive coaching. I also do one on one coaching. And it's really about how can I be the best person that I possibly can be? And we kind of got to look deep into ourselves to find that sometimes. And so that's part of what I do. I'm also a speaker, I'm an author. I have a new book coming out called Microdosed Mindfulness that'll be out this summer. And, I like to think about how we can take better care of ourselves and be more our true selves in these little micro moments. Instead of thinking of mindfulness as something that is a big deal and it's going to take all day, we don't have to do that. We can just be mindful. And the more often, the better.
Yes, I agree. And I would love to dig into that conversation right now as far as, again, yeah, looking at, how can I add joy into my life? That sounds like such a big topic. Like, oh gosh, like that sounds overwhelming. And like you said, like there's little ways to do that. So I would love for us to just kind of go back and forth and really, share what you share with your clients and how little things that people watching today can take away and really incorporate into their life.
I'd love to share a story, actually, kind of where this really went to a whole nother notch for me last year. Actually, my cousin passed away on my birthday. And that was kind of this horrifying experience that really made me start questioning everything. And I was just like, what am I even doing with my life? What am I going after? What am I chasing? Like, what is the point of all of this if we never even get there? My cousin was planning to become a meditation teacher. He just finished his certification. He was like leaving his job in America and moving to India to pursue this full time. He literally passed away weeks before he was about to get on that plane. And it made me really think about these goals that we have for the future, these things that we want to reach 3 years from now, 4 years from now. But like, what if we never get there? Then what about everything that we just missed? And that really kind of opened up my eyes to be like, what am I doing every day? What am I focusing my time on? What really matters to me? And I found that a lot of my time was focused on being stressed. I was stressed about the future, stressed about the past, stressed about what's not working right now. It really gave me perspective that, like, these things in the future may not ever happen. So, how can I enjoy like this day right now? Like, if today were to be my last day on earth, because technically we never know, right, when our time is. Um, would I be happy with the day that I lived? And that's kind of where it really took it off to a whole nother level for me, where I started thinking about, well, what does give me joy? What makes me happy? What makes me smile? What fills up my heart? And I started to do more of those things. And I asked myself, why do I not do those things? And it was a lot of times because of what people might say, this is not a valuable activity. This is not productive. You know what I mean? And I think that there's this conversation about joy where people sometimes think it's just like this frivolous thing that doesn't matter. You know what I mean? And I'm really excited about talking about this stuff because I really want to change that conversation, because joy really is life. I feel like the purpose of life is to be able to experience joy, and of course everything else that comes with it. But I just think we spend so much time in the other areas and not enough time in joy. And so what I loved about this topic, and actually Janet is the one who had brought up this topic of microdose mindful moments. It's something that she teaches in her practice. And I just loved that concept because I was like, we don't really need to spend a lot of time necessarily to do these things, right? For me, I talk about how can you take 10-minute intentional joy breaks throughout your day. So figuring out kind of like what does make you happy. And like people may not know the answers to that question. Most people don't, because we're just not tuned into it, but really just going through your day this whole week, noticing what lights you up, what do you enjoy, and how can you add more of that into your days, especially in your busiest ones, because that's probably when you need it the most.
Yeah, absolutely. What I heard right there when you're talking about, entrepreneurs and that's how I heard interpreted that, right? Like entrepreneurs, when you have a business, you're like, how is my time spent and how is it going to be most productive? And then we just go, 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 go. And then, oh, wait a second,
We
like
miss
this
out
is,
on
yeah,
life.
so much, right? So much. Yes, yes. And Patty's here. She says joy always brings her back. I'm sure that's an exclamation point and not a question mark, because she's very joyful a lot of the times that I've ever seen her. So yes, that's so true. Yes, thinking back to, yeah, why you started a business and really what makes you light up, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's awesome. Scheduling, yeah. Oh, here's a good question. Schedule time for joy. How do you get your clients to get there?
It's funny because I think that we waste a lot of time being stressed out. So if we actually work on releasing some of the stress and tension, we'll have a lot more free time. Because we spend a lot of time worrying about things that we can't change, that things that we can't really do anything about. So I find that, doing things like doing a brain dump, like writing down everything that's stressing you out, writing down what the possibilities are and then releasing it, because there's nothing more you can do about something that you can't control. For example, if you are applying to a new job, right? You've done all the work, you've studied, you've practiced on more than you could practice, right? And then maybe you even went for the interview. After that, you might spend a lot of time, and I've totally done this, stressing out about how you did, how you didn't do, whether you're going to get a call back or not. And like, it's like there's nothing you can do in that point. You know what I mean? So if you can shift where you're spending your time, you'll find that you'll have a lot more time to do that. But really, like I said, like the 10 minutes. And you said, like, how did you get your clients there? And it's funny because I have one client who runs a full-time business, like a brick and mortar business, has employees, everything. So she is super, super busy. And as we were able to kind of take out the activities that really weren't necessary for her to be doing, that she could delegate, or spend less, organize some of her systems that she didn't have to spend so much time doing manually. She actually was able to create 10 extra hours of time that she could just give back to herself. And she herself was blown away because she was burned out, so busy managing multiple employees and a whole customer base, brick and mortar, so she has to physically be there, right? And I think we'll really be surprised at how much time we have when we start looking at it and kind of organizing that part of it. And then seeing how much time, like I said, we're spending worrying about things that we can't change. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. If we really get caught up in all of the things that are going on, if we spend too much time watching the media, if we spend too much time on social media, all those things that are constantly kind of like inundating our lives, and that is a huge time suck that we don't even recognize we're having. And if we just stop and notice that, I mean, for me, mindfulness is nothing more than just noticing. So, oh, I'm distracted. Oh, I'm procrastinating. Oh, I got caught up in worrying about this next review that's coming up. And it's recognizing that, okay, that's out of my hands right now. And like you said, Aditi, to be able to let that go and do something else. We can turn our minds to joy. We can make that mind shift to move to joy and just look out the window. Look at the sky, look at the trees, look around your office and see if there's some small thing that reminds you of a time that you were happy, something that reminds you of a loved one. Those things bring you those moments of joy. And I think, like mindfulness, people really think that joy is only worthwhile if it's huge. We have all these aspirations about joy. It has to take over my life. It has to get me so excited. It has to be amazing or it's not good enough. And that's just not true. If we are simply calm and quiet and happy with what we're doing, that's joy too. It doesn't have to be the highest joy in the entire world or not worthy. And I think that's something that we forget. And that's why these microdosed moments really help us to aggregate joy throughout our day. If we just take a moment, if we make that time, and we're going to answer the phone, we can give ourselves a moment to get present so that we have more opportunity to be positive when we're in that moment and to experience it rather than go, oh God, the phone's interrupting me again. Which one of those is helpful? It makes it a lot easier to make a choice.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Exactly. Yes, yes, yes.
There was something you said, Janet, last time we spoke about the 90 seconds, I think. Was it 90 seconds of joy? Like, it doesn't even have to be a really long time. You can just put on your timer for 90 seconds and just embrace, soak in your environment. And I remember that blowing my mind because I was like, oh, wow. It could just be as simple as that.
Yeah, it really doesn't have to be so big. And even 12 seconds, just taking a breath, being fully present, being grateful that we're here, grateful that in this moment, we're fine. And we forget that in the next moment, we might be fine too. And, you brought up that you think about the past, you think about the future, but if you're not in the moment, you're just not fine then. If you're just worrying.
Yeah, it's like a cycle, right? Like you can get into that mode where you're kind of like on autopilot, and if there's a lot of things going on and you don't take the, 90 seconds or 12 seconds or, any time to like stop and go, whoa, wait a second, where am I at? Like, how does someone like start that practice of like really becoming aware? I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on that.
It's really getting into the habit of checking in with yourself, just periodically. And it doesn't have to be like I'm going to take a breath now and figure out where I am. It can just be like, I'm a little tense right now. Check in with things like, I experience a lot of stress in my hands. I'll notice that I need to just stretch my hands out to relax a little bit. That sometimes I'll realize that I'm tense by noticing that my shoulders are tense and go, okay, I need to be aware of that. I need to decide what I'm going to do to change that. It's really just, where am I right now? And doing that again and again and again.
Yeah, it's building that habit, right? Because I think a lot of us that are missing out on that are not taking that moment to, like you said, Aditi, to be aware and really understand. So I love how both of you are really on the same page with this conversation. So Patty's loving it too. Yeah, she's all about noticing that she's in this mode, and yes, having breaths, taking the breath, taking moments to to really be present and to be aware of what's going on for sure. And then, oh, she's so sweet. Capitalize social media gives her joy. I'm so glad that you're here, Patty. Love
That's
having you
nice.
here. So, what other little tips and tricks can we kind of take away from here
Another thing,
today?
piggybacking on what Janet said, is a lot of my clients like forget. They're like, I don't got time for this. Like, I already have so many other things to do. So what I invite people to do is, how can you integrate it into your daily life? Rather than it being this extra thing that you have to do. So, for example, one easy thing that I've invited people to do is set an alarm on your phone to actually check in on yourself. So it rings every day, maybe at the same time or multiple times a day. And it's literally just, you can write a question like, how are you feeling right now? Or you could be like, to check your energy levels, to like, I love what you said about stress in your hands, because for me, I know I carry a lot of stress in my shoulders and in my
Mm.
legs. So like when you check in with yourself, you can notice these things. And then that can be kind of your trigger to be like, you know what, let me stretch right now. Or putting in an alarm to take that 12-second or 10-minute intentional joy break. And another thing I like to do is like noticing in your days, like what is really stressing you out, like some regular daily stressors. Like maybe there's something every day that stresses you out. Like for me, I know every morning when I wake up, I just feel stressed as soon as I realize where I am and what's happening in the world. And like, it just all comes flooding into me, So I have to do things in the morning to help me set myself up for the day. Otherwise, I don't want to get up. I'm like, I can't face the world. There's just too much. I get overwhelmed really easily. So something I actually learned from Dr. K, who I had interviewed a few weeks ago, was going outside as soon as you wake up and being under the sun for 20 minutes, because it actually, like, I don't know the whole scientific thing, but it recalibrates your hormones and it sets your day up to like wake up, and it sets your body, it like changes things in your body. And I started doing that a few weeks ago, and it really made a huge, huge difference. So that's one thing. And then, a common one people always have is like losing their keys. Like every day they lose their keys and they can't find it, and it stresses them out. So it's like noticing these little stressors in your life that like are like happening every day or weekly. It's like, how can we shift that? How can you maybe do something different or create a different process? Like, for example, always putting your keys in a certain area. And in the beginning, you're going to forget, but like keep them or put a note or do something. But I do find that these little small like changes, of these inconveniences that we experience can bring us, like, it brings me joy when I can easily find my keys and my purse as I'm walking out the door. You know what I mean? Things like that. It's like, it's going to be different for everybody. So finding out your own individual like annoyances and things like that. And I think that really makes a big difference.
Mm.
Is there this, I'm thinking of what I did last year around this time, like thinking about, like joyful things that maybe some people don't know what brings them joy and what gets them really excited. When you say like a specific place to put something, I'm like, it brings me a lot of joy to take like a cabinet in my house and like organize it.
Nice.
I go back to that cabinet and I'm like, oh, I love it. Like I keep looking back at it like
Right?
this really makes me happy.
Such
And
a
that
good
was one of the
things.
things. Yeah, and you can find things exactly. Right? Everyone in the house knows where they go. Yeah, that
Mhm.
makes me really happy. So how do you? Maybe someone doesn't know what brings them joy. Like, what
A
kind of
lot
advice
of
can you
times
give to them?
we don't know what brings us joy. And again, if we think that it's got to be a big deal, then we forget that joy happens all day long. We have that first sip of a cup of tea. And if we stop and savor it, that's joy. Appreciation brings us joy. And sometimes, I was working with a client the other day and she said, I have this meeting and there's this person in the meeting and they drive me crazy every single time and I don't want to go to the meeting. And it actually sets her up for anxiety before she goes in. And so we sat down and we made a list of things that she could appreciate about that she had the job, that she liked what she did, that this person had also done some good things, that the way she was going into the meeting was set to not enjoy it, to not have a good time, to, just be miserable. every time she had the same meeting. But over time, she could really start to see, okay, I appreciate the space that we're in. I appreciate the job. I appreciate my relationship and what I do and bring to this. And so she learned how to come to the meeting with appreciation. Before she enters the meeting, she takes a breath, she puts her hand on the door, and she's like, okay, I'm here. And it completely changed the way that she had the relationship with this person. And actually, she got to the point where it didn't bother her anymore, and she was actually happy. So that's joy. Trust me, that is joy.
I
That's
love that.
huge. Yeah, replacing a stressful situation with a joyful situation and something that you're, like looking forward to and excited about, and just little tweaks almost, right? It wasn't like a complete like overhaul. It was a couple little things. Recognize and be intentional and find out what those things are, and switch the script on it. I love that so much. Patty's sharing. What do you get? Oh, she's a question here. What do you do to get someone back on schedule from taking time for their self? So from stressed to the other extreme. I have some guesses, but go ahead, Janet. Want to take this one?
Yeah, it's really recognizing, oh, I'm not taking time for myself. It's all about noticing, wow, I'm doing all these other things and I'm not taking this space. And, I'm a tiny habits coach. And so I'm really big on taking tiny little things to lead you in the direction, things that remind you. For example, when I sit down at my desk, every time I'll take a breath, just as time to regenerate a little bit, to get centered, to get focused, to be ready to do the next thing. And you can do that at any time. And you just create little triggers that remind you to take better care of yourself. And as you start to develop those habits, they get bigger, they aggregate. You start finding that there's a lot of things that remind you to take a breath, to be present, to be happy, to have joy.
I think
Yeah.
also when you're going from that extreme to extreme, it's because you're burnt out. And if you are finding yourself just completely shutting down, you want to make sure you honor that and take the rest that you need. I actually had that happen to me a few weeks ago. I moved across the country and literally I shut down for a whole week and I could not get up. I couldn't do anything. I really had things to do. I actually had podcast recording scheduled. Now I know after you move, never like schedule anything the week after. So I think that, and then for me, I did have to kind of get back into work mode after I had taken time off. And that was a difficult transition. So what I find helpful is like thinking about like your values and like what really matters to you, because oftentimes when we're running from a place, when we're in that super stress mode, it's because we think we have to do all these things. We're running on obligation. We're running on other people's expectation. But when you can center back to yourself and say, okay, what really matters to me? What gives me joy? And what do I want to spend my time on? And then start getting back into your schedule in a way that lights you up. Like maybe this is an opportunity for you to do it differently, because if you're dreading going back to your schedule, then I think that's a sign that there's got to be something that we can shift here, because I don't believe life needs to be so dreadful. And I think a lot of us are living that way, but I don't think it has to be that way. And that's why I love microdosing moments of joy that can slowly start to shift that. And then also, about finding out what gives you joy. I love brain dumps. I think brain dumps are fabulous. Like literally if you just start writing, okay, let me make a list of 20 things that make me happy, that give me joy. Just start brain dumping things that come up to you right away, and then pay attention to your days for the next 7 days and notice, oh my god, I went on a walk today and it just really gave me joy, like looking at these trees. You can add it to your list. Oh, I painted my nails today and it really gave me joy to just like color my nails today, and write it down on your list. So I find that like spending a week to just observe your routine and see what gives you joy will definitely give you insights.
I
I
love
love
that so
that.
much. Just
Yeah.
noticing and writing things down. I'm a big fan of journaling, not so much as a diary, but as okay, today I'm really going to check in. What's going on? What brought me joy? What didn't bring me joy? And how can I maybe make a cognitive shift in those two things? What really wasn't good, and was it good because I wasn't there? Was it good? Was it not good because of some other situation? And what can I do to change that, to have more joy, to have more life, more energy? Because at the end of the day, joy is nothing but energy. Just like sadness is energy, we get to make a choice between which energy we're going to give our energy to.
I love that.
Yes. Yeah, that's so true. Oh my gosh. Well, our 30 minutes is already up. We've gone through our first segment of Coaches Go Social, and I cannot wait to continue talking about this conversation about how to add joy and really awareness of all these things. So thank you for spending so much time with us today. And thank you to Janet Aditi. We're going to go ahead and hop into the next segment over in our messenger chat where we get to see all your beautiful faces and really dig in a little more. So make sure to hop on over there. But before you do, I want to make sure to mention that these two awesome entrepreneurs have some really cool things they're promoting right now. Aditi has a book launch. I'm going to add that to that link to our conversation here so you can check that out after. And Janet's actually hosting a virtual retreat this Saturday, which is super, super cool. So make sure to check out all of that information and then hop on over to our messenger chat right now. We'll see you over there, and I look forward to more Coaches Go Social basically every Tuesday for the rest of this month at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. We'll be talking about mindfulness, of course, and how to improve our mental state this month, because it's just so necessary as entrepreneurs, as people in this world right now, and I'm here to support you. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you over in the messenger chat here in just a second. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.